MTDCNC podcast, sponsored by Langley Alloys. Unique metals for demanding applications, providing first-class performance and an international service.
Hello and welcome to today's podcast. We're actually on the road today. We've come out to do a filming job at a company called Birds Precision in Nuneaton, and we've finished filming, and I am now joined by the MD of the company. We've got Thomas Bird here. Welcome to the podcast, Thomas.
Cheers, thank you.
Also, I am joined by a duo, Tweedledum and Tweedledee. Am I allowed to say that?
No, you're not allowed to say that, Lyndsey.
So, can you introduce yourselves, please?
My name's Capp. I'm the sales director at Sodick, and I've just changed my voice for the podcast.
My name's Richard Bailey. I'm the sales manager from Sodick.
Wonderful. And we're getting together just to have a little bit of a conversation really about what it's like to own a business today, manage a family-run business with Tom, and the perspective of the team of Sodick and how they're finding business and what they can do to help businesses when investing in equipment as well. So, yeah, let's just kickstart this podcast off with Tom. Did you enjoy filming today?
Yeah, it was great. It was a bit awkward at the start, I think, but I think everyone has that sort of experience and the first time with it. But yeah, no, it's been good.
You've never done anything like
Never
filming before?
Nothing like this, no.
No. Well, it was good.
It's quite frightening when you first do it. I mean, I can't do it.
You can.
One day it's really good. The next day you just can't get your words out of your mouth. It's difficult.
I think that the preparation is quite difficult because you can either over prep, or the most natural time is when you become yourself, and it's finding
off the cuff, basically, isn't it?
Find your own flow in front of the camera.
It's being able to have a conversation with someone on camera. I think that's what people find hard. When that light's in your face, it's all pressure.
Well, I've done loads of like extra work, and the funniest thing is when they say, "Can you walk from this door to this door?" and they say an action, and you go and you contemplate how you actually walk, and you don't do that in real life, Steve. You're overthinking everything.
No.
So
the simplest word you can't get out of your mouth. So it's unbelievable. Yeah.
Hopefully that won't be the case in this.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
No pressure.
Oh, he does speak.
Yeah. She does. So Tom, you tell me, how is business? How is work for you?
Good. Really busy at the moment. We've got order book for the next 3 to 6 months. It looks really healthy. Yeah, it's going really well.
Is that normal, a 3 to 6 month?
I would say it's probably above average, to be honest. I would say we probably look 8 weeks out normally. So to have 12 weeks is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good at the moment.
And can you tell me a bit more about the company and the business?
Yeah, so it was set up 1991 by my dad. Just around the corner, actually, in a little unit. He bought a little milling machine and a shed, basically, and set up. He'd got no orders, he'd got no customer base, nothing. He just went knocking doors. And
I mean, where does he? Obviously, he must have had a qualification.
Yeah, so he did his apprenticeship with a couple of companies around here, but it just never worked. He was never happy working for somebody else, and he wanted to do it by himself. And that's what he did. He just got a bit of money and went and bought a machine.
I mean, that takes some confidence.
It's risking. You're risking it all, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's a big step, isn't it?
He didn't have you then, though, did he? Did he have children?
No, the business was no.
No.
So we weren't born yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you arrived.
Yeah. So I've been in and out of it since I was a toddler.
Yeah.
Is this something you always wanted to do?
Yeah.
Is it?
I think I was probably 13, 14 coming in here for the first time when I remember like coming in and helping out, making teas and sweeping floors and stuff.
That's the grounding you want, though.
Yeah.
Engineering firm.
Yeah, it's a different mentality. A lot of people say to a lot of younger people, stay away from engineering. And it's kind of, especially in my position, when Dad runs the business, he was never really kind of pushing me to get into engineering. He's always, do what you want to do at the end of the day. But no,
yeah, it was always something I wanted to do ever since I can remember. Dad would come home and he'd be talking about it all evening and all weekend and stuff. So it's all I've ever known, really. Yeah. My granddad was an engineer. And so, yeah, it was just...
And that was when it was thriving in the Midlands, really, wasn't it? Engineering, definitely. With all the car companies, aerospace.
But yeah, I joined in 2012, 17 full-time. Yeah, like I said, when I was 17 and went straight onto the shop floor, Dad opened the door and left me with one of the blokes and says, "Yeah, he'll look after you now," and that was it. So I didn't get
Tough love.
I didn't
Yeah.
get any special treatment at all.
No.
What an introduction, though. You learn that way, don't you? You're
Yeah.
not sort of mollycoddled into it. You actually moulded and developed by other individuals within the business, which
Yeah.
is nice.
Yeah, definitely.
You're MD now, though, aren't you?
I am. Yeah.
So how did that happen, and how have you found that?
Dad said to me probably 5 years ago, "I'm thinking of retiring. Are you interested in trying to do it yourself?" And I hadn't really known anything else. This was what I'd grew up doing. So I said, "Yeah, I'll do it. I'll take it over." So over a couple of 3 years, I transitioned into learning the role. And then, yeah, as of October 2023 is when I became managing director. But my dad officially retired. I say officially retired. He still helps out. He still does stuff.
Yeah.
But as of July last year.
It's like having that umbrella around you, isn't it?
Of course it is.
And that helps a lot, especially
Massive,
as even in my position, you've got that experience to lean on all the time.
Yeah. Like if we have any issues here, I'm straight on the phone to him
Yeah.
because he's been doing it 30 years. He knows exactly what
Experience
to
is
do.
everything,
He
isn't it?
doesn't know.
No, exactly.
That's invaluable to every business as
But
well.
you,
isn't it?
but you
How
still need to make mistakes yourself because
Yeah.
you need to learn from them. And
Definitely.
that's how you get stronger, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
But also doing it yourself now, you can progress. You can bring your visions into the business. You can steer it in a direction that you see fit and
Yeah.
to the market.
So when I joined in 2012, that was the year we bought our first CNC machine. Before that, it was all manuals. So I joined the year the CNCs came in. So I still had 3 years on the manuals that I would jump between, and then I
Well,
went.
there's the transition
Yeah,
straight
then I
away,
went
isn't it?
into
Between
CNC,
youth basically.
That's
Yeah.
a milestone, isn't it? Invest in the future and technology-wise, but invest in your people as
Yeah.
well.
And now we only have one manual machine, which is the big horizontal borer. Everything else is CNC control.
Yeah, and that stood the test of time, wasn't it?
Of course it has.
You
Yeah.
know, that's a good age-old machine, but still holding accuracy.
Yeah.
You just said about a milestone. One of you did.
Yeah.
What's the milestone that's happening now? Would you say? What do you think? Because there is in industry, I feel like I think it's AI, but in our industry, is there a milestone? Is there anything that is there a mountain that we're getting through at the moment? I think I don't know, personally, I just feel like there's a bit of a change, going from, do we need to consider automation? There's a
Well,
movement.
I think the problem that a lot of companies are finding is they're finding it really hard to find the young engineers, replacement engineers. So they're having to look at new ways where, unfortunately, they don't need to take on the staff. The machine can do that for them, and that's a bad thing to think about, but a good thing in another way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It is difficult at the minute, isn't it? Especially in engineering, and I don't know why young kids aren't really enthusiastic about engineering. It's not pushed at all.
glamorised, is
No.
it?
Yeah, it's not glamorized, but looking at it from an outsider's point of view, you come into an engineering company now at 13, 14, there's some cool stuff going on.
Yeah, definitely.
There's bike parts being made. They're anodized in really nice colors. There's, you don't just get a silver pedal on a bike now. It can be red, it can be yellow, it can be any color you want. It's about introducing that vibrancy back into the industry. And
Well, that's where the youth come in. You look
Yeah.
at LinkedIn now, and you can tell the youngsters, they're bringing that youth into engineering with all these, really cool videos and especially even with MTD. That's what we've got to do. We've got to make engineering cool for these young kids to get involved in.
I think with MTD, from MTD's perspective, is we're bringing everything to life to show everybody. A lot of companies would have hidden away what they're making, and I think more people now are more open-minded to say, no, it's okay. We don't mind showing off what we're doing. Okay, yeah, there's NDAs on products, but they're not. It's not a hush-hush industry.
Yeah.
It's like, actually, to make it, we need to showcase what we
Yeah,
do.
because people are actually thinking of the bigger picture now. They're not just thinking, "Oh, I can't show that part. What if someone else takes it?" No, you're actually you're advertising your product
Yes.
by putting it on the internet.
I agree. And Tom's industry sector, I mean, the parts you do are quite big in scale, aren't they?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
they're not small, intricate parts. They're big, intricate parts.
Yeah, that's why we like coming in here, because everything we're looking at is tiny, and
Yeah.
you come in here and everything's big, and it's it's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And the accuracy is still embedded within that product. So the machines that Tom's got out there on the shop floor are still highly accurate, but there's not many people locally that can machine to that size with that accuracy.
No, definitely not.
So can you tell us more about the parts that you're making, just to give people a clearer view?
Yeah, so it's special purpose machine tools is probably our main sector. high accuracy. Like I say, the milling that we've got's up to 2.1 meters by 675 mil. You know, so there's not many companies around here that do that sort of work, but they're basically parts for other machines. But like on the turning, we do a lot of automotive parts for a big British automotive company. But yeah, we do a range of parts, MOD parts, and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, that's the big word at the minute. Defence, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of manufacturing towards defence, which is a bad thing, but a good thing for our industry, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is, and it's having the skill set within in-house. You know, your guys, albeit they're quite a young workforce, aren't they? The average age.
Yeah. Again, it's something that we're trying to bring in there. Like, we see a lot of engineering companies local to us where the staff are all in the 60s.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
10 years' time, then businesses aren't going to be here because they're not going to have the skill.
No, yeah, and we go around all the time driving around, and the companies are just closing up because they're
Yeah.
aged staff, and they've just said, well, enough's enough.
Enough's enough, yeah.
And I'll just close and I'll go and live in Spain.
COVID had quite a bit of
Yeah,
Definitely
part to
didn't.
play
Yeah.
in that.
it
Yeah.
did. And they go, and look, we don't want to say anything political, but they're not helping, they're not funding
Yeah.
the industry like other countries around Europe, which they help.
Yeah.
There needs to be some investment
And-
at grassroots.
But they don't realise that the world still look at us as a leader of engineering.
Yes. Yeah.
So we, give us the investment and we'll produce for you. That's
Well, we've got the intelligence there. You know, if you look at our school system, and we've got a lot of, we're renowned for our universities and colleges and everything like that. We're known for that. Someone told me, and I don't know the fact, so please forgive me, but they were telling me that a high percentage of people where inventions are made across the whole world come from the UK.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's understandable.
How is that then happening and then going elsewhere? But then you just touched on something about government help and across Europe. And
Yeah. So I think a few of the countries in Italy, Germany, they'll get 50% grants on new technology.
50%.
Yeah, a lot of countries are doing that, and they're helping their engineering sector grow. Whereas our government, they don't really see that's the good place to put your money.
No.
If we're not making anything, where are we?
But money's tight. Money's tight everywhere now, isn't it? And I think those grants are dwindling away. But that's what was happening in Europe, especially.
How are you keeping your workforce, Tom? Like, tell us a secret. Don't give too much away because people will be listening to you and doing the same thing. But,
Yeah. It's hard. It's just the short of it. It is hard, especially for like little companies like us competing against your Jag Land Rovers, for example. You know,
You've got to make that good environment for them to want to stay here. It's not about life isn't all about money to a lot of people. It's about having that nice lifestyle, going to work with a smile on your face and leaving with a smile on your face.
and what I'd say here is they're not like the lads are not a number. You know, this is a small family-run business. We're very flexible. It's not like a number to the big boys who.
Yeah, you're not a little fish in a big pond here. You're a big fish in a little pond.
Everyone's looked
Sometimes
after.
that gives you more of a purpose.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that.
And the job's changing from day to day. I think that is keeping your mind fresh. Whereas if you go into a factory environment, you're doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Variety of work, variety of work holding, variety of machine tools. Yeah.
Challenges.
Yeah.
That's what people want, don't they?
And Tom's invested in great CNC machine kit. It's still got a manual aspect to it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a broad spectrum of work, and there's a good vibe on the shop floor, which is really unusual. And most companies now are regimed and regimented. Tom's not got that. You know, everybody's interacting within a job. You sit and talk about things, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
I think sometimes there's a lot to be said for not having to. You want yourself to do well, but then there's that growth. Do you take that lead to grow and grow and grow, or do you just get very good at what you know and then grow slowly? In fact, I'm doing a talk next week. I mentioned this to you earlier, didn't I, Tom? About I'm going to do a talk next week in Prague and talking about industry and what goes on. And having spoken to a few machine shop owners, slow growth, being steady with everything, they've all said the successful. But, they're doing well. The people I've spoken to have all said just grow, but grow steadily. Don't go fast. Don't go too quick. Just do it at your own time. It's not you don't want to take big risks in this sector,
Yeah, and that's the worry from our perspective as Sodick. This year, it's grown so quickly.
Has it?
Yeah, and this year has been it's going to be a record year. We can tell already, and we're only in March. We've sold so many machines already, and it's frightening because you just want that steady growth. You don't want the quick, because on the other side there's going to be a big down at some point.
Yeah.
It's also been a good
But
time
that's
to help
engineering
some-
in this country.
Yeah,
Sorry, Rich,
definitely.
but
That's fine.
it's always up and down.
Yeah.
It's never steady.
And it plateaus occasionally. What you've got to do, and what we've done as a business, is invest at the right time. So you invest in your people, you invest in your technology. Tom's done the same. He's come out of COVID. You've got the right spindles on the ground, the right machine tools in place, and you're in a confident, structured position. When the work arrives, you can deal with it.
In creating that good environment that he's got here, you can tell that as soon as you walk through the door. And we're not buying anything from Tom, but as a customer, that's and that helps. And that's why people buy Sodick sometimes, because that's the way we are as a company. The good environment, and when people buy from people, don't they?
100%. Oh, go on.
I was just going to touch on the family orientation as well. Tom came over to see, potentially buy a machine from us. Came over with your wife, didn't you? He was expecting at the time, but he came over with his wife to purchase a machine in a family-run business. We've come over today, and good news all round. Tom's a dad. We've seen the family arrive, and
How Poppy is.
but that ethos is great because it's a family business working with another family business, and you can feel that there's energy around that, and it works for people. And I think people buy into that more and more.
I like what you said on camera, because Tom obviously did an interview earlier, and you were saying that, I said, how important is it to you when you're purchasing? Because it is family run, and it's not someone else's money that you're using to buy that machine. So just, for the viewers, I know the answer, but how important and why is it so important to you when you
Well, like you say, it's my money that I'm spending. Some of the big companies, they've got a budget, and it's just they don't even see that money, but that's money coming out of my pocket every month. So it has to be the right purchase, and we have to make sure that it goes with the right company. But I can't fault.
And whatever you're purchasing, it needs to help your business grow. So and then that entails leads onto your staff. So if they see the business growing, they grow with it.
My customers like to see us investing as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they always they'll probably come and have a look round and see it. That's what they like to see that we're going forward and not stagnating.
Yeah. Can we go back to the secrets of holding on to good staff as well? Because you've spoken about having a good vibe, but what else? What are the demands of the staff nowadays that you'll find?
The latest technology. They want to work the best machines. They don't want to go into a company that's running 20-year-old CNC machines. They want the latest tech. I would say that's probably a key thing for us.
Continuous personal development is good for an employee.
Yeah.
And investing as an employer helps that to happen. So it's a win-win situation. Your business grows because of the accuracy of the machines. The staff knowledge database grows. They grow as people, and you all sort of grow together, don't you?
Well, that the wire has been another thing for the lads to learn. So that's something else they can put on their CV, because we hadn't got one before. The two lads that went on the training course with myself had never worked a wire. So it's something else that they've added to their CV, so they're continually developing their own skills. So I think that's a benefit.
Yeah, and that's testament to you as a business, because you've got two of your employees and yourself on a training course.
Yeah.
A lot of people will just have one or two people on a training course. And when it comes to holidays, they're stuck.
Yeah.
Tom's got cover for that machine all the time, so his staff feel valued.
Yeah.
And the business has always got somebody there to rely on to produce parts on the machine.
And you're on the machine as well. You went on the training course.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
Yeah. Well, my attitude is, if for whatever reason people are on holiday, I've got to be there to be able to do it. And if new lads come in, I need to be able to train them up to teach them. So I can use all the machines out there.
Yeah. You've got to. I think sometimes there is that. What's the saying when you've got to do it right yourself sometimes?
Do as I do, not as I say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, you can see that when you go on the shop floor, Tom knows what he's got going on out there, which is great.
Yeah.
A lot of people that we deal with, no disrespect, but they're caught up in the day-to-day running of the business. They don't get hands-on, and
No, they just want to press the green button, walk away, and let the job the machine do the work for them, basically. Whereas Tom's got to learn everything about that machine, so he can then take on work that he didn't know.
And it's stuff like
Selling.
that's it. And it's quoting the parts that come through. If I don't know how long it's going to take, I can't quote it. So being hands-on with the machines, I understand better how long the parts are going to take.
Yeah. There was something else that you said earlier as well. Oh, what other things are you coming up against with staff then? In today's world, any not too detailed, but a staff demanding more money. Let's talk about that area.
100%. Yeah, of course they are. Yeah, and like it comes back to the same thing when we're competing against the bigger companies, they can afford more. So it's not always about the money,
No.
it's the environment they're in and the machines they're operating and stuff. And like I say, they're looked after in here
Yeah.
because we're a family run business. So I think that goes a long way. It's like I say, it's not all about the money, but
No, of course.
that is a problem we
I
have.
think they also want security there.
Well,
Yeah.
you were talking earlier. I thought stability.
Yeah, security and stability. They want to know that they've got a job and they're not going to lose the job. So, I think that's what
Yeah.
anybody wants, don't they?
Involvement with what you're doing as well.
I want to know.
If you've got a purpose, you can get involved. You can give your opinions. You can work as a team, and there's you get far more back as an individual.
That's what you speak to younger people now, and they all want to see a path.
Yeah.
They want to see that path all the way to their retirement. They want to know where they're going to. I was having a chat with someone the other day, and he was like, "I want to see a path. I want to see my next move. And when do you know when to move jobs?" And I was kind of like confused by it.
I think it's different because I worked at UK Skills. When I worked for DMG Mori, I often did some of their events for them, and I was on the stand. And so we used to have some of the kids come up to me and go, "What's the starting wage? What am I going to be on?" They only asked me about money. They only ever asked me about money, and I was just like, I don't understand. When I got into what I do, money was I
think there is an entitlement, especially with everybody seems to go to university and they leave university with a degree and they think it's going to sound bad, but they think they're entitled to a big salary all of a sudden, and they've never worked a day especially in a tool room. See, at the ethos where we would work, we'd much rather take someone on who'd been in a tool room for 10 years than someone that's just left university. And so, that's a terrible thing to say, but
the skills
it's life.
You've got inherent skills that you only learn by doing things. And textbooks are great, but using your hands, using your dexterity, understanding how metal cuts. We were on about this earlier, weren't we?
Yeah.
Put something on a wire and it could move. Material's got a mind of its own in certain situations. You've experienced it with wire cut, but as a new tech.
Yeah, definitely. And you can't learn it out of a book.
No.
You've got to be on the machines to understand it. I think that's where a lot of the industry's wrong, because they come straight out of university and go into designing, and then they're trying.
Well, that goes back to apprenticeships, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Years ago, everybody went for an apprenticeship, didn't they? And now there isn't that option for children, and they just go straight to university, and they're all told within the university, you're going to get a great job after this.
Yeah, which is a worry.
Which is a worry.
Yeah, as a country, you need people in skill sets, and you touched on it then. You come out of university and you've got certain aspects of certain elements, and everything's designed to perfection.
Yeah.
Those tolerances are virtually unachievable.
On standard machines.
And I don't think young people realise how much everything day to day you use has been on a CNC machine or a wired. They do not realise.
Yeah, of course not. What tolerances were you talking about there? When you said
we live in this theoretical micron world.
Yeah.
You can machine to a micron if you've got the right environment. But 99% of products out there don't need that.
You can machine to a micron, but you ain't going to be able to measure to a micron because of the environment.
Yeah. And you've come up against this so many times, Tom, as you said earlier.
It was one of the reasons we bought the wire, because the tolerances just get silly, and in certain aspects it needs it.
So who's driving that?
Core designers.
Yeah, because they've never worked on the machines. So they just love this theoretical, well, I can get 1 micron tolerance, or I can go into nano microns, which is further down,
Just because.
Yeah.
Because it can,
And that plays into our hands a little bit because we are so accurate as in Sodick are, and that helps us.
It does help us, but it also gives our customer base, and Tom can be an advocate of this, gives them the confidence in the machines that we supply, that you can achieve those tolerances in a nice environment with the correct work, the correct work holding, correct work pieces. It's achievable. Whereas there's a lot of people out there with not such high end kit that are trying to work to these tolerances. They haven't got a chance. So Tom's investment has put him in that position to move forward and to tackle the modern world of tolerances.
So that kind of then backs up you saying about young people wanting the latest equipment as well. Yeah. That works both ways. So that works for your staff and the end goal of being able to move forward with what you're producing here too.
Yeah, 100%.
What would be your goal? What would you like to change actually, Tom, in industry at the moment, just across the board? Is there anything where just you personally think, God, this isn't working. What can we change?
Young staff willing to come in and do it. That'd be the one thing I'd push. The technology's there, the money's there for them to earn, but they're just, none of my friends do engineering. I haven't got any friends that are hands-on, they're all office-based.
Scary, isn't it?
It is scary. And then and when you do get the younger people come through the door who have a bit of drive, the bigger companies swallow them up.
Yeah.
And then they are kind of
Because they can make packages more attractive.
yeah, and then they're suffocated within that company because they think they can make a change, but those companies won't change the way they've been doing things for years.
Yeah.
It consumes good engineers. They're suppressed. They've got no flair. They can't develop. They're part of a team where there's maybe 10 strong, all looking at one project.
Yeah.
You can get a drawing through the door. Tom can develop it and have the part made.
But then does that then refer back to what you're saying then, Greg, is they want the young people are coming through there, I want that path of growth, because they all want to end up trying to be like the MD of one of these big.
Correct, yeah.
Is that what,
Well,
is that then?
We had
Tom's dad did it. He went into an industry and said, I'm not going to work for someone, I'm going to make my own company.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a young lad in here. We were applying for apprenticeship. We wanted an apprentice in, and he came in for the interview and we said, what do you want out of it? And he says, I want to do my apprenticeship and then I'm going to get a job at Jag Land Rover. And we were like, so we're going to train you up for like 3-5 years, put you through college, and the day he gets his paperwork, and that's the mindset of the young people at the minute, so unfortunately you didn't get the apprenticeship here. Yeah.
Understandable.
You kind of get
Yeah.
that one. God.
Yeah.
And then we're not getting at like they're bad companies, Jag
No,
Land Rover
no,
and all that.
definitely not.
But
No.
because they feed us in other ways, they
Yeah.
feed the industry. It's just within that you unfortunately become a number in a lot of these.
It's just because there's not a quantity of apprentices
Mm.
nowadays,
Yeah.
so they can afford to take them ones, and it doesn't leave the little companies with anyone coming through.
There's not enough.
No.
is there?
Because they get the
point.
support from the government, the bigger companies do, to have these young apprentices come through the door.
And on that, and it not being funny, but a lot of them, if they want their CV and they do want that big path, where did you work? Where did you work? It's a recognised brand. So
We will look at CVs like when people apply here, and we know the local companies to us, and if their names are on that, we know they're a good lad.
Yeah.
Because we know they've been trained properly.
Yeah.
So just because if we looked at and you've got some of the big companies on, it wouldn't be as attractive as some of the little companies around here. Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah. Because we know what sort of tool rooms or subcontract machine shops they are. We know if they're going to be any good or not.
And that spans back to homegrown engineers being trained by homegrown engineers, not the past, but, long-standing homegrown engineers. So those skills are passed on.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you think Tom's become MD?
Yeah.
He's been out there.
Yeah, because Tom now you're only young.
Because his dad retired.
But now, Tom, you're not even 30 and you're like MD of Birds Precision. That as a title itself is far greater than someone with like.
But it's also pressure because, his dad's grown this business and he's got to keep it going and he's got to move it forward.
Yeah.
And see, the same in my situation. You live in the shadow of someone, don't you? And all of a sudden you're out the shadow.
Yeah.
But in the same way, you've got that umbrella at all times.
Yeah, we've got a good reputation,
Yeah.
so that carries us a long way. And as long as we keep our customers happy, which we try and do, should all be okay.
So let's talk about something good then. Like, what is going well for you? You said you're busy, you're doing well, but any other kind of area? I mean, you've got a 5-week-old. Like, that's pretty awesome. We were talking.
Yeah.
Holding her earlier.
That puts things into perspective a little bit when that happens. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
So, are you sleeping?
No. Bits. We get
You look
bits
good
of
on
sleep. Yeah, I don't feel good on it. Yeah, but
So we've been so keen to get to work.
yeah. But no, yeah, life's good at the minute. Business is doing well. Home life's good.
That's the most important thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah, but that's great. Your wife came in earlier with Poppy, and that's fantastic. But it's the home life work balance, isn't it? And keeping those two things.
I'm
close.
still learning it. I'll be honest. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the difficult things are obviously when you have to make decisions within a company, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
And you have to, unfortunately, tell people off or whatever, and that's when it gets difficult.
Yeah.
Because that's the HR side of things, isn't
Yeah. That's changed over the years.
it?
Yeah.
For your lads out on the shop floor, every one of them today, we've come here to do some filming. They're all keen as mustard to know what's going on. okay, some of them want to be on camera, some don't. I get that.
Yeah.
But they're all interested. They've all
Yeah.
got an interest in what's actually going on day to day, and that's
And they're all involved in it as
Yeah.
well. You know, they all help me do it. You know, it's like say we're a team in here, and they all help.
That's brilliant. Grow together.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, so I've got a little saying on this for there. So I went to Seco years ago, and there's a guy called Richard Jelfs who was running it. I don't know if you ever know, but there's a saying, but it's a known saying. But it basically says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And I need to do a social media post on it. But I literally live by that now, because I think now, and this is another thing in my head, is everyone keeps on talking and honing on about social media and growing your own brand. You need to grow yourself, your own brand. And I get that. But why have we all become so individual?
Don't know.
Is it me? Has anyone seen this?
I can tell Tom's like our company. Every morning we'd get in and we'd all sit down and we'd still do it now. We have a cup of tea and we chat about anything. And then we'll chat a little bit about business. So we all know what we're doing at the time. And just being able to clear your head and we stop that individual, I'm going upstairs and I'm going to sit at my desk and I'm not talking to anybody.
Absolutely. Because like you've got a skill set. Say if we all worked, say if we created a company, the four of us around this table, you've got a skill set. We've all got different skill sets. We're better than others at different skills. So that is far stronger than one person. So where has this
and the working from home, that's where and that's where you lose that kind of, you know, we're all sat here, we've all got different skill sets and we can all team up together and be one good team. Whereas when you're working from home, I don't see how that would happen.
That's changed so much, isn't it? I saw someone post on social media the other day saying, they said, oh, how can they make a healthier workforce? And someone went, well, make sure everyone works from home. And that for me, I totally disagreed with that. Don't get me wrong, there's flexibility and I agree with that. I like the fact that we're in that day and age, but also I think that I love being with people. Not everyone does. I get it.
But in engineering, and me and Connor went to a customer in Ireland and we asked to see the operator of the EDM machine and they said he's working from home today.
The machine operator.
The machine operator. And we were like, how does that work?
How does that work?
Yeah, some of my lads would like that one.
You know,
Lazy Friday.
you know, and like you say, but there has to be that happy medium because it is a good thing.
Yeah, there is. There's so many benefits to
Because
it.
life's not all about work.
Yeah.
You know.
There is, but you can't, to help make a happy workforce, get everyone working from. I'm sorry, but for me personally, and it's my opinion, is you can't. I'm happier when I'm with people, talking to people. It's like therapy, A lot of people, we won't go too much into depth here, but a lot of people have, we talk about mental health. This word, it comes up a lot. Actually, therapy is going to see your mates and having a chat. And having a chat, as that you're not alone on this.
Not having a relationship with your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not alone. It's not those thoughts and those feelings. We went on a tangent here. Sorry, but it's true because it actually comes up in business.
Yeah.
But knowing that you're not alone in those feelings and someone reassuring you that it's okay, I've felt that before, is so important. And just
especially young men. Especially
definitely.
Well,
and in engineering in general, because it's a male dominant environment, as you know, Lyns. But
how does Lyns know that?
Wait tomorrow, but you should stop now that then. So you're aware of what it's like, and blokes don't talk. We'll take the mickey out of each other, but we don't talk. But Tom may back me up on this, he may not. But one thing that I know from the process of you purchasing the machine from us, there was a couple of emails, factual information, but it was face to face. We were on the phone. There was so much communication.
I hate this keyboard warrior email
and
environment we're in. I really would just rather bring somebody and have a conversation.
And you gain far more in a 5-minute chat, don't you? And, we've had conversations around quoting, haven't we, over the phone?
Yeah.
And looking at drawings and just checking in, Somebody sends you an email and says, how's it going?
The amount of times you've been halfway through sending someone an email and you're just like, sod it, I'm going to ring them.
Yeah.
It'll pop in.
Yeah. So important. I think there's a big thing at the moment, though, with that. There's a huge anxiety about young people picking up the phone.
Yeah. Well, then now, where was that? Yeah, I was reading that they're actually teaching people that have left university how to use a phone. Like to ring people and talk.
Funny, we've all got phones now, but no one actually uses them to call one another. Like that's what a phone was originally when you look back at it. God, what's wrong with us? I'm joking.
We're classed as dinosaurs. My children say to me, Dad, why do you need to ring me? I've just sent you a text message.
Yeah. It's like we're conflicting our interests really, because that technology that we use every single day has been gone through all the engineering, and
But we need it.
we need it, but you need to also
Yeah. Look at our company as he looks at his Apple Watch on his wrist. But it's true, our business we're video, and if you're not watching video content, that's how we're selling as well, and that's on your phone.
But that's communication again. People talking about products, delivering a message, but verbally. It's not in text. It's not as a statement. It's again communication. People know your face wherever you go, don't they? Within the engineering world, why is that? Visibility.
Yeah.
And that familiarity, and that's how we pride ourselves at Sodick, is to get to know our customers, talking to people. I'd like to think we don't hide behind emails. We send them when we need to, but we visit, we talk to people, open houses, get people together, get the industry communicating.
Yeah, we make mistakes. There's no, but we're open to fixing them. And that's.
So life's good for you. That's a positive. What are your plans for the future with Birds Precision then, Tom?
Steady growth is what I'm aiming for.
After what I said.
Yeah,
I've learnt a lot today, hasn't I?
I've got no plans to be a 40-man shop. I want to build it steady over the next few years. We're looking at 9001, which hopefully by the time the video comes out, we'll all be in place. We're nearly there with it. So I'm hoping that'll open the doors to more customers, and grow the business that way.
Does proof that you've got that, does that instantly open doors?
I think it will. I hope it does. Like I say, we've been going 34 years, so we're doing something right, but I just think it should open up, maybe get us into some of them bigger sectors that we're probably not looked at the moment. So
and what in the short term, not talking about machines, but what are your short term next steps? You want to go, obviously you've got a little one that's going to be taking up a lot of your time.
Yeah.
But, your 9001, other sectors that you're looking at, other things that you're considering. You've just jumped into the world of wire,
Yeah.
That's something.
I think it's all word of mouth as well, though, isn't it? You can do with all the advertising you want, and we speak to one of our biggest customers, and he said it's all word of mouth.
Yeah. You've just said that about people that you're sourcing and, local people, local companies.
Yeah, it is. Especially around here, like everyone knows everyone, so you know what sort of, and that's really one of the reasons today's been good. Hopefully getting us out there. We don't do any advertisement. It's all word of mouth. So I'm hoping that this encourages people to at least give us a chance.
A company of your size, just one more question, sorry. Automation, what do you think on that, of a company of your size and what you're producing? Is there anywhere in your business with automation that you could work with? Because it's talked so much about, but with these big brands.
Yeah, definitely. I think on the milling side for us, we do a lot of ones and twos off that are,
I think that's Britain in general.
yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of repeat work. I think that's why I don't see a lot of automation here in the UK compared to, I'm comparing it to Germany.
53 or something in the board of countries with automation.
Yeah.
We're not high up at all.
But no, from our milling point of view, automation just doesn't work. It's heavy, big lumps. You're not going to get a robot to pick up some of these lumps that we're doing. But on the turning side, we've got an automotive, yeah, it's a car company. But we do a part that goes into them, and like I say, last year we probably did 75,000 parts for them.
Oh, that's a lot.
So we're using like bar pullers and stuff like that. So that's the sort of automation.
Automotive. You're
You there?
automotive.
Yeah, I'm trying to mix the two as
Car company.
yeah, keep it simple. But yeah, that's the sort of route we go down.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, it's going well.
That again leads to progression, doesn't it? The greater the numbers you get through the door, the more you can look at automation. Tackling new challenges. It's how you move from here is how your business is going to move and diverse.
Yeah, but and that's the thing with engineering. Nobody knows what the future holds.
Definitely,
Yeah.
You don't know where
You just got to go with the future, and that's being flexible as a business.
Is it quite a thrill, like owning a machine shop, to not know what's coming through the door, or does it send your heart racing, or are you like absolutely leaning?
I couldn't stand the pressure of it. Especially, how many machines have you got out there? What,
9, 10.
I'd imagine if you had 50 or 60. And
Yeah, I dread to think.
It's
It's
right.
pressure, definitely pressure. It's nice to see the orders come in because, like I say, you just don't know that they're coming most of the time. So, yeah, I would say there's a thrill at times, but It's a
You
lot.
enjoy it.
I love it. Yeah, I wouldn't change it.
You can tell you enjoy it as well.
Yeah.
You can. I mean,
It's getting a bit of a regular occurrence that we're coming across these younger lads that are
Yeah.
really into. We've just been to Thailand and we took one with us, and we took 3 with us, really,
Yeah.
didn't we? And they're so keen on engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that Matt, when I spoke to Matt, I said, "Do you love it?" And his eyes literally lit up. And I was like, "I've not just the passion that comes from you, is it?" And then he kept on talking.
You can feel it.
Sorry, I'm talking so much about it, but I just love it so much. And I was like, "Oh, wow,"
Yeah.
Tom Scubula or Scabala, I can't. Who works for
Machinist.
the UK machinist. He calls himself on Instagram. He's just like you, you Tom. He's the same, but he loves it, and he's just bought himself a 3D printer, and it is so funny because Joe, the boss, was like, "Yep," because he put a little video up, and he went, "Yep, that's not getting any work out of Tom for a week," and no word of a lie, he sent pictures of him printing components all week. Just with that sheer excitement of new technology, just going, what can I make? How can I make this work? How can I push myself? And it is that thrill that you've just said, that excitement of you literally are making something from nothing. And that's why he's so excited as well.
Yeah.
That
was you with the wire, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was exactly the same scenario.
Really?
It's on with the wire, yeah.
You were like, I'm going to learn this new technology, this
Yeah.
new skill
Yeah.
and make it happen.
Yeah.
And you did.
And we did. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well done. Okay. Anything else anyone wants to kind of bring up, or you all have?
We do make our own PCBs, Lyndsey.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
no. Go on then.
Let down. Yeah, it did. That's just so many, 15, 20 minutes.
You got to
of
explain the
clean-
story, Rich, of
go
what
on.
we heard.
Yeah, so we went round the PCB manufacturing suite in the Thai factory for a considerable amount of time. And
Hours.
yeah, and then and Lyndsey even put the non-static shoes on, which was more of a thrill than the room, apparently.
No, not at all. You're really playing this, right? Go on, Ollie.
So yeah, there was a subsequent podcast, and Lyndsey said they make everything but their own PCBs.
No, I did not say that. I didn't mean to say that at all. So the fact of the matter is, I was trying to say.
Actually, Paul asked you, what, they don't make their own PCBs? And you said, no, they don't.
No, yes, they do.
You know that rabbit in the headlights situation.
Do you feel sorry for me?
No.
See, this is a real engineer.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So basically, it wasn't that. I was talking about the amount of components, and bar the PCBs, which is probably what I said, I'm hoping, that you bring in those components, but you build it. You build them. That's what I was trying to say, is all of those different components.
Yeah.
Because there's so many components on a PCB.
You got a shovel?
Yeah.
What you're trying to say is
This,
we buy the components that go on the PCB,
yes.
and then
you
we
build
physically build out.
And then we program them, yes. The chips and things like that.
all of the
Yeah.
chips. And
Yeah.
that's why your dad was saying that something like, I said, isn't it something like 90% of the components you're making on site? And he said to me, but take the PCBs out of that, then it's a lot lower, because
Yes.
there's so many different individual
Yeah.
components that go, in terms of quantity. But yeah, right, where's that shovel?
So just to establish what Lyndsey's saying, Tom. So your PCB on your machine is made in-house at
Yes.
Sodick. And the reason for that is we've got full control of accuracy, full control of tuning the machine, and if there's any modifications or anything that we need to develop technology-wise, we know how to program it around the hardware. So it's a win-win situation for the machine tool.
Thanks for that, Richard.
It's fine.
Why don't you just go on the next podcast and then
You have to.
Well, you did spend a week in Thailand.
Peter did say everything else is fine there. Thanks, Lyndsey.
You didn't really say anything else about the factory.
Right. Anyway, right. I'm going to go now. That's the end of this one. But thank you so much, Tom, for letting us into your facility. Have you enjoyed?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been a great experience. Yeah.
It's a different one when MTD are around, especially then with the Solid Tech boys.
Yeah, definitely.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum, I think. We're glad.
Yeah,
I'm definitely not. I'm D. Just putting that out there.
that was Richard who said that. Right. Okay. Thanks ever so much. Thank you for listening. And hopefully we'll be seeing you again next week on MTDCNC's podcast.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the MTDCNC podcast, sponsored by Langley Alloys, specialists in a wide range of exotic materials for any application for all your engineering needs.